announcements, none. Papers have been laid. Questions?
Honourable Leader of the Opposition, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've given notice of the following private notice questions addressed to Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Home Affairs and External Communications, Minister of Finance, Minister for Rodrigues and Outer Islands. Whether in the light of the changes or policy reversals in relation to the measures announced in the 2026-2027 budget speech, he will state whether a revised macroeconomic and fiscal framework will be tabled and explain how such changes will be reconciled with the sum appropriated in the Appropriation 2026-2027 Act. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Madam Speaker. As the House is aware, the budget contains more than 500 measures, and only one of these measures is being reversed, because in the question it says policy reversals. Only one of these measures is being reversed. It is quite normal that there may be budgetary measures every year that do not get to be implemented or modified. This is sometimes due to conjunctural situations or deliberate policy actions. The impact on the budget of such occurrences is generally summed up in the budget outturned at the end of the fiscal year. Madam Speaker, Government has decided not to go ahead with the means test in the pension reform announced in the budget of 2026-2027. In the macroeconomic and fiscal framework, it was initially estimated that the budget deficit would be 3.7% and the public sector debt would be 85.6% of GDP. With the removal of the means test, it is estimated that there will be an additional spending of 6.2 billion rupees on state age pension, which represents 0.7% of GDP for the period January 2027 to June 2027. The full year impact would have been more than 1.5% of GDP if there were no mitigation measures that are being implemented. As I stated, Madam Speaker, in my reply to the private notice question of the 25th of June 2026, Government has already initiated a number of measures to make up for the higher expenditure expected from the removal of the means testing of the state for the state age pension and bring down the budget deficit and public sector debt. These include, first, a committee chaired by the Secretary to the Cabinet has been established to look into the reprioritization of the implementation of the capital projects while ensuring that economic growth is not adversely affected. The committee has already started its work. Second, another committee has been set up at the level of the Ministry of Finance, chaired by a Deputy Financial Secretary, to examine the expenditure of each ministry and to ensure that we act on the findings of the Director of Audit Report. A number of meetings have already been held with accounting officers of several ministries in areas where expenditure could be rationalized or being identified. Third, I will myself chair a steering committee on public sector efficiency to identify areas of duplication, inefficiency, and wastage. Every ministry and department will have to submit to that committee a concrete plan to improve efficiency without compromising delivery service. Fourth, the Ministry of Finance has set up a high-level committee to fundamentally review our overall tax system with a view to enhancing its fairness, efficiency, and international competitiveness. The committee, comprising of tax specialists supported by the IMF and other international experts, including Dr. Philip Baker, a renowned authority on taxation, who is also currently working with the MRA, they will start work next month. We expect them to implement the measures shortly upon completion of the review exercise, and we can expect a positive impact on revenues. Fifth, the Ministry of Finance is exploring the disposal of selected non-strategic assets, as well as the potential listing of certain state-owned enterprises on the stock exchange with a view to unlocking value and monetizing its shareholdings. 6, with regard to the CSG contributions, to facilitate a smooth transition, consideration will be given to continuing to credit part of the CSG contributions to the consolidated fund for a limited period before this practice is phased out entirely. Madam Speaker, as the House may be aware, the IMF carried out its annual Article 4 consultation mission to Mauritius in April and May of this year. That is, before the presentation of the budget. The Ministry of Finance has been in continuous discussion with the IMF after the presentation of the budget. In a spirit of transparency which characterizes this government, the IMF has been fully briefed on the fiscal impact and the measures being taken to mitigate the impact on the budget. The Executive Board of the IMF has already approved the Article 4 consultation staff report, and the report will be released, I believe, shortly. Moody's has also been briefed on the budget and fiscal policy stance of government. In fact, I must state, Madam Speaker, that Moody's has released an issued comment on the 26th of June 2026, whereby they noted, and I quote, "Fiscal consolidation progresses under the 2027 budget, risk of policy drift persist," unquote. The full credit rating assessment is expected in 6 months' time. Madam Speaker, with regard to whether a revised macroeconomic and fiscal framework will be tabled, let me reiterate that the budget process already provides for a budget outturn at the end of the fiscal year, which accounts fully for such circumstances. As the House is aware, the Appropriation Act of 2027 has been approved, wherein a total sum of 232.4 billion rupees have been voted. In the performance-based budget estimates of 2026-2027, an amount of 30.1 billion has been provided for payment of the basic retirement pension for the period July to December 2026, and 20.5 billion has been earmarked for payment of the stage age pension for the period January to June 2027. With the removal of the means test, the exact amount that will be required for payment of the state age pension is not known at this stage, because we do not know the exact number of future pensioners who will elect to draw the pension at the age of 60. The budget process also provides for the presentation of supplementary appropriation bill, if required, in line with the provisions of Section 105 of the Constitution under any head of expenditure. As such, there is no need for a change in the total appropriation.
Your first supplementary, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I start my supplementary questions, let me wish the Honourable Prime Minister a happy birthday. Now, with regard to the forthcoming finance bill, the Honourable Prime Minister is aware that this House voted the Appropriation Act based on a specific set of fiscal assumptions. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether through the forthcoming finance bill, this House is being asked to legislate for a completely different budget, thereby rendering the original parliamentary scrutiny of the appropriation bill a mere rubber stamp exercise?
We answered that question last time, and as Speaker, you gave a ruling on this. There are 3 ways when you have additional expenses. And again, I must stress that there is only one change in the budget. That is the means test. There are three ways of doing this. One, from the contingency and reserve. I think you should know this. Or else savings during the year. For example, capital budget is never 100% spent. It is roughly, depending, around 70%. And thirdly, there will be a supplementary appropriation bill if need be.
Second question.
Yes, at paragraph 283 of the appropriation bill, Madam Speaker, government has included the receipts of the Chagos deal. Et, il faut le reconnaître, cela a gonflé les revenus de l'État. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House why this sum has again been included in this year's budget when his government has failed to finalize the deal with the UK government?
We didn't finalize an agreement has been signed with the UK, to remind you. An agreement has been signed, they haven't
Let
gone
him
through the
answer.
process in the UK. We are very confident, Madam Speaker, that this will happen.
Next, third question.
Yeah, I'll put the question again. Will the Honourable Prime Minister circulate another appropriation bill, or will government present a supplementary budget or revise estimates to the House rather than attempting to bury these fiscal alterations within the forthcoming financial bill?
I'll just explain, Madam Speaker. There are three ways of doing this, and I'll just give the three ways that can be done.
Okay, he chose one way.
Madam Speaker, there are a lot of confusions concerning the pension reforms. Can the Honourable Prime Minister confirm to this House today what will be the age of eligibility of the BRP as at 1st September 2029?
Say many times. that
29.
We have returned it to the age of 60. That was in the budget. It's not a new measure. It was in the budget.
Can you confirm?
Yes, as you said.
Now, Madam Speaker, there is a discrimination or injustice on the age of eligibility for the beneficiaries of the BRP. Will government backpay those who did not benefit their pension due to the 2025-2026 budget measure?
I'm not quite sure what back pay you want me to implement. Which back pay?
Madam
Please
Speaker,
explain. Please
yeah,
explain.
because when they have brought forward those reforms, ces gens-là n'ont pas pu avoir la pension qu'ils auraient dû avoir. So, est-ce que l'État va les rembourser?
But it's actually not true what he's saying, Madam Speaker. What we have done, we have given the option now. There's an option of you taking your pension at the age of 60.
Talking about the year 2025-2026 measure, Madam Speaker. Now, refer to the table that was presented during the press conference of Honourable Soubron. The sum of 13,107 has been announced for a 60-year-old person to benefit this amount in 2029, whereas a 60-year-old person will benefit an amount of 14,490 in September 2026. Do you find that normal, Honourable Prime Minister?
It is normal in the sense that you have a sliding scale. If you want to opt to take your option, to take that option, to take your pension at the age of 60, obviously you will have a slightly reduced pension because you're taking it 5 years earlier. That is all.
It's not all. Somebody will have 13,107 in 2029, whereas somebody in September this year, he will have 14,419. Now, can the Honourable Prime Minister...
Exactly, let me
Let him-
explain. That is exactly the transition period. You have opted to take the pension earlier. You get a sum which is 14,490 in September 2026, and there is a sliding scale.
So you
Your
get a lesser
question.
amount in 3
Question.
years' time. Now, can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House whether he has been apprised of the massive legitimate outcry of citizens against his pension reforms, as demonstrated publicly this past Saturday? Will government backpedal completely on the pension reforms altogether?
Question of doing that. Madam Speaker, we all know, and they know, that the basic retirement pension is unsustainable in its actual form. Now they're promising when they come, if ever they come back, they will continue on the same path of unsustainability, which brought the country in the financial abyss we find ourselves today. Now, I can't understand. They know it's unsustainable, but they want no reform. They are against mistesting. So the question is, how will they pay? They will increase VAT, on everyone. That's a possibility that they can do. They will increase taxes and further penalize the middle class. They will make health not free anymore. They will start cutting. You know, the budget for education, for health, is over 18 billion rupees at the moment. It will increase. That for education is 23 billion rupees. Where will you do the cutting, cut the costs? Where?
Let me put a
Your
direct
next
question
question,
to the
yes.
Prime Minister then. The Alliance du Changement promised an old age pension of 21,500 rupees. If now the Honourable Prime Minister maintains that a previous system was known to be unsustainable, then on what grounds, may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, was this specific figure of 21,500 promised to the nation?
Madam Speaker, unfortunately in Mauritius, it's not like in the UK. In the UK, the opposition are given all the figures of what is being done. Here we don't do this. Okay. Now, who knew? Who knew at the time? I don't know whether you knew. Whether you were in cabinet, you knew that the monthly interest payment on the debt is actually 2.5 billion rupees. And now will be more. And that is without capital payment. Capital repayment will be around 30.1, I think. No, sorry, interest payment in total per year for the financial year 2026-27 will be 30.1 billion rupees. And on that, you have the interest which you have to pay, plus the capital.
Next question.
Yes, thank you. Will the Honourable Prime Minister confirm whether he intends to make the determination of SAP increases binding by law requiring a majority in Parliament? As recommended by the Committee of Experts.
Madam Speaker, every measure comes to the House to be voted.
Next question.
Not reply to my question, Madam Speaker. Earlier, the Honourable Prime Minister stated that he has set up a committee to explore the possibility of disposal of selected non-strategic assets. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House which assets have been identified and whether workers will be laid off when those assets will be disposed?
Madam Speaker, if you listen to them, they want to do nothing, leave things as they are, and continue the mess that they put this country into. I explained that there's a committee which is looking at what assets we could possibly dispose of.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm just looking at the time.
Now, may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he will confirm that by materially altering this year's budget after the Appropriation Act has been passed without providing the House with a revised fiscal framework, he has compromised the transparency of the budgetary process and the confidence of this House in the government's fiscal management?
Madam Speaker, I explained at the very beginning that in every budget, it happens that you decide to change your policy because sometimes the conjunctural situation, or you decide to deliberate policy action that you want to change. That happens. So I've explained such occurrences generally summed up in the budget outturn at the end of the fiscal year. I don't understand why you asked the question again.
Okay. Honourable Duval.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, as the Prime Minister, with regards to the budget that was the sums appropriated for the payment of the pension for this financial year, 2026-27, we see from the appropriation there were 30 billion for the BRP to phase out, and as from January next year, 20 billion for the SAP under the means testing. May I know the 20 billions that was budgeted? How many persons, what percentage of those eligible were estimated to take their retirement pension at the age of 60?
As I explained, Madam Speaker, we can have an approximate, we cannot. Maybe everybody will want to take the pension at 60. We don't know at this stage.
Yes, yes.
That is the question. There was an estimate. It was based on 20 billion. So what is the estimate now? That is the question. You've done it for this financial year. What is the estimate now that everybody is surely going to take it at 60? How much sums? What is the
No,
shortfall?
This is not what the Prime Minister said. In any case, it's an estimate. Prime Minister.
I just explained to you. You keep asking the same question, you'll get the same answer.
Don't,
There was an estimate of 20 billion for the SAP. If you use that same logic, what would be the estimate for this now? This is a simple question.
Because we cannot say, because we do not know how many people will actually opt for the 60-year budget. That is the problem.
okay, you want a last question?
Last question, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, all major trade unions have stated that the next move, Honourable Prime Minister, will be a nationwide general strike in the country. Now, knowing well that this will paralyze our economy and disrupt essential services of this country, will the Honourable Prime Minister consider suspending the finance bill first and engage in genuine tripartite social dialogue, or is he prepared, Madam Speaker, to plunge the country into economic paralysis to protect his pride and admitting
Don't
his
impute-
original
don't
budget was
No.
fundamentally
Don't impute
flawed, Madam
motives.
Speaker?
You're not allowed to impute motives. His pride. That is imputing motives.
First
Yes.
of all, I did not hear the union say that they want to suspend the finance bill. You are saying that. I didn't hear the union say that. And secondly, there will be no change from what I have said. And that's it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Now we go to questions. Questions. PMQT, please. Yes. I don't understand this, Honourable. You kept more or less quiet all this time. Try and not interrupt all the time, please. Honourable Jaman. Yes. Now I am trying to speak. Now we go to questions for the Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Babaji.
Thank you, Madam. B1017.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Financial Crimes Commission that in the investigation into the case of alleged money laundering in dangerous drugs-related cases involving Mr. GM was in fact initiated in September of last year. On the 26th of February 2026, the Commission carried out a search operation at the residence of Mr. GM in Petite Rivière and seized a sum of 1,074,725 rupees in cash and 6 vehicles, and therefore proceeded to arrest him. On the 27th of February 2026, a provisional charge of money laundering was lodged before the District Court of Bamboo against Mr. GM, and he was remanded to police cell. On the 5th of March 2026, Mr. GM was released on bail upon furnishing 2 sureties amounting to 500,000 rupees and entered into recognizance of 3 billion rupees. Madam Speaker, the Financial Service Crimes Commission is pursuing its investigation into the money laundering case, financing of drug dealing and asset recovery.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Supplementary. Yes.
Thank you. According to my information, say GM, they got fleet of transport and they are supplying
Come with your question.
cover-up in the same investigation, and whether there will be more presence of the ATSU in the West, in that particular area.
In that area.
Yes.
Yes, Prime Minister.
Question is, we will take very harsh measures. If there are intervention, there are no intervention. We're not living in the MSM period where intervention was happening all the time. With this government, no intervention by whoever here. Secondly, ASU has already increased its patrol in that area.
Patrol in that area. Okay, yes, Honourable Babulal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B1018.
Madam Speaker, Mauritius being a small island developing state, we are vulnerable to environmental impacts and climate change. One major source of environmental pollution is plastic pollution, which is increasingly evident in public spaces, landfill sites, and our coastal and marine ecosystems, with the associated impact on biodiversity, fisheries, tourism, and public health. The flooding incidents which Mauritius has faced have clearly shown the significant amount of plastic waste that has accumulated in our environment and has been carried through drains and waterways. Our plastic waste is composed predominantly of plastic bottles and plastic food packaging. There is growing concern, Madam Speaker, about the footprints of plastic pollution. Research has shown that plastic pollution, one, affects human health through the ingestion of petroleum-based microplastics found in drinking water and food. Secondly, it harms ecosystems by reducing soil quality and contaminating the freshwater and marine habitats. And three, causes injury through ingestion and entanglement, reduced reproduction and death of marine and terrestrial animals. According to the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, the total waste generation in Mauritius is estimated at 518,300 tons. Out of this, approximately 14%, that is around 72,600 tons, is plastic, and only some 2,900 tons are collected by registered recyclers and exporters. Immediate action towards the elimination of plastic is required to minimize damage to human health, marine life, and ecosystems. Madam Speaker, in the budget speech, I announced the extension of the current excise duty of 2 rupees levied per PET bottle containing water or soft drinks to plastic bottles containing other goods as from 1st of October 2026. The objective of this measure is to primarily encourage more environment-friendly consumption and manufacturing. However, Madam Speaker, we are conscious that the extension cannot be applied to all plastic bottles containing goods due to the potential impact of this measure on the cost of essential products and the non-availability of alternatives. Accordingly, the excise duty will not apply to 38 categories of products, including milk products, infant food, edible oils, margarine, butter, spices, honey, prepared vegetables, juices, baby products, and pharmaceutical products. The expected revenue collection from the extension of the 2 rupee excise duty to plastic bottles is 135 million rupees for the financial year 2026-2027. As regards to Part A of the question, the additional revenue from the extension of the excise duty will be remitted to the Consolidated Fund. The House may wish to note that there is already a Climate and Sustainability Fund to support national initiatives to protect, manage, and invest, and as well restore our natural ecosystems and combat the effects of climate change. For the financial year 2026-2027, government will transfer 2.5 billion rupees from the Consolidated Fund to the Climate and Sustainability Fund to finance various projects, schemes, and programs in connection with adaptation and mitigation measures to address climate change. In addition, an amount of 3.5 billion rupees has been earmarked in the Consolidated Fund to finance various projects and programs under different ministries for environmental protection. Concerning Part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that there is presently a scheme operated by the Mauritius Revenue Authority, which provides for a financial incentive to be granted to exporters and local recyclers of waste PET bottles to encourage the removal of waste plastic bottles from the waste stream. Under this scheme, exporters of waste PET bottles are refunded an amount of 15 rupees per kilogram of waste PET bottles exported, and local recyclers an amount of 30 rupees per kilogram of waste-based bottle which are recycled locally. Given that the excise duty will be extended to cover plastic bottles, the refund scheme will also be extended to cover waste public plastic bottles to be exported or recycled, whether they are subject to excise duty or not. Madam Speaker, there are other initiatives to support local manufacturers and recyclers which are being implemented by the Ministry of Environment. This includes the implementation of recommendations of a 10-year roadmap for a plastic pollution-free Mauritius through first the conduct of a baseline study on the types of plastic products that can be recycled. Second, the establishment of technical specifications and national standards for recycled plastic to ensure safety, functionality, and quality. And third, the provision of training to recyclers and local authorities on upgraded sorting, contamination, control, and safety measures.
Thank you. You want? Yes, all right. Honorable Bichuk.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. B 1019, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that 81 cases of fake Mauritian passports were reported on the 1st of January 2021 to the 9th of July 2026, out of which 2 have been reported in Mauritius and 79 abroad. Of the 79 cases reported by the foreign authorities, the nationalities of only 21 holders of the fake passports have been communicated to the Passport and Immigration Office. The 2 cases reported in Mauritius involve 2 Nigerians who have been arrested, and the cases are under investigation. I'm tabling the details of the nationalities of the 23 holders of the fake Mauritian passports. Madam Speaker, the existing format of the Mauritian passport is in existence since 2005. Government will be introducing the biometric passport, also known as e-passport, which will be equipped with advanced encryption and anti-tampering mechanism to facilitate the verification of the identity of the passport holder. Funds have been provided for in the budget of this year for the biometric passports. My office has already engaged with Singaporean Cooperation Enterprise under the existing Memorandum of Understanding for consultancy services on the e-passport project. The consultant will provide quality assurance and technical advisory services. To complement the introduction of biometric passports, my office is also working on a digital border management system to strengthen border security as well as to expedite the immigration clearances of passengers, which will contribute to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of our airport. I mentioned this last time. One component of the system will include the e-gates, which complements the biometric passport in its reading to confirm that the person presenting the passport is actually the legitimate holder of that passport.
Yes. You have a question? No? Okay, next question then. Mr. Liao.
What about B?
I'm sorry. Mr. Akulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B 1020.
1020, that's it.
In fact, Madam Speaker, this is a very good proposition, and I'm sure the Honourable Member will be glad to know that on the 29th of April of this year, the contract for the e-Government Gazette project has been awarded to Envision IT Limited for the total amount of 9,760,000 rupees, which includes maintenance charges for 5 years. The contract agreement for the project was signed on the 25th of May 2026. The e-Government Gazette project consists of a web-based e-Government Gazette, including its legal supplement and online library information service. Some of the components of the e-Government Gazette are as follows. 1, an online subscription to the Government Gazette, including its legal supplement for both local and international subscribers. 2, an online library comprising Government Gazettes, including, again, legal supplements, accessible to both local and international customers, but against payment where applicable. And 3, an online processing and payment for publications in the Government Gazettes. The contractual duration for the implementation of the project is 15 months, as from the 25th of May of this year. The e-Government Gazette is therefore expected to be functionable by September 2027, when all the services will be available online.
You happy? Yes. Now it's your turn, Ms. Dalgaro, Honourable.
Yes.
Ms. Dalgaro.
Yes.
I'm avoiding Miss.
It's all
so
right.
I'm saying Ms.
This is still fine. B 1021, please.
Madam Speaker, national unity and social cohesion constitute the very foundation of our republic. Mauritius has long been recognized as a plural, democratic, and multicultural nation where diversity is in fact a source of our strength. Government remains firmly committed to preserving this legacy and to ensuring that every Mauritian, irrespective of race, religion, ethnicity, language, or social background, feels equally respected, protected, and included. Madam Speaker, there are comprehensive laws criminalizing incitement to racial hatred. Section 282 of the Criminal Code, using the media, electronic or online or social media by words spoken. Sections 16 and 17 of the Constitution, which provides for recourse to the Supreme Court if there is racial discrimination. The Equal Opportunities Commission and Tribunal dealing with complaints by victims, for example, racial discrimination, including discrimination in employment or discrimination by victimization. The laws are therefore to be executed by enforcement and regulatory authorities. And it is open, Madam Speaker, to anyone aggrieved by alleged propagation of acts inciting racial hatred to complain to the police or the authorities if he or she feels aggrieved or at risk. It is for the competent authorities, that is the law enforcement, police, DPP, and the courts, to assess whether any act or course of conduct exceeds the exercise of a person's fundamental right to freedom of expression and therefore constitutes an incitement to racial hatred. The object is not to police public opinion, but to protect social fabric of our rainbow nation while preserving to the largest possible space for legitimate expression. In a bid to oppress the previous government, closed access to social media and slowed internet debit. When we came to power, we vowed that never, never again should we allow our shared peace to be corroded by totalitarian minds. We condemned any attempt to muffle expression. This is an imperative in a multicultural and pluralistic democratic society. For these noble ideals, Madam Speaker, we rely heavily on the responsibility of one and all. But we must acknowledge that we face numerous challenges, especially when radicalization sets in the minds of a few and those who still do not realize that freedom of expression stops at the door of the freedoms of others. That at the baseline of a peaceful, diverse society is absolutely necessary to respect the views of other people's religion and other people's lifestyle. We have to respect all of that. Madam Speaker, I shall be ruthless against anyone, and I repeat, against anyone who jeopardizes national unity and social cohesion. Government remains resolute in its determination to preserve the unity of our nation and to ensure that Mauritius continues to be peaceful, inclusive, and a harmonious society. Any new measure must remain proportionate and consistent with the constitutional protection for freedom of expression.
Yes, yes, Honourable Member.
Yes, thank you. Can the Honourable Prime Minister confirm to the House whether the government has conducted any assessment of the prevalence of racial hate speech in Mauritius, particularly on online platforms?
We actually have, and we have been moving, trying to, it's very difficult in Mauritius at the moment to be able to find out the source of this. So that is why I'm getting the help from the Indian government. First of all, we were told to approach the Maharashtra government to look at the cyber unit, to reorganize. We came here, but unfortunately, after a while, the price suddenly seems to have ballooned. I do not accept this, because we had agreed on one price. We cannot now have the price ballooning. We don't know why. So I asked them to stop the work. I went back. Last time I met Prime Minister Modi, I explained that to him, and he suggested that we deal directly with Delhi.
Okay, next question.
Would the Honourable Prime Minister consider implementing or developing a national strategy or action plan on combating racial hatred, racism, discrimination?
It is unbelievable, Madam Speaker. We are in 2026 and still people don't understand that we are all children of the same God, and they still persist in doing what they're doing. They will be harshly dealt with very soon.
Okay. Honourable Babaji, I think.
B1022, please.
Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that from January 2026 to the 8th of July 2026, 1,560 cases of drug-related offences have been reported by the police. The total value of the drugs seized during that period is estimated at around 1.3 billion rupees. I'm tabling the information regarding the types of drugs seized during that period. I can read it, but it's a long list, Madam Speaker. Probably it's better that I table. With regard to Part B of the question, as I've already stated in the House, the fight against drug trafficking is one of the major priorities of this government. Several organizations are working together and are taking different measures to address this drug scourge. The Commissioner of Police has informed that the police have increased patrols and crackdown operations conducted by different units in drug-prone areas. For the month of June 2026, 90 patrols were carried out just for 1 month, just in 1 month. ADSU has been given more manpower and equipment to increase its operational capabilities. ADSU is also working in close collaboration with the Financial Crimes Commission to disrupt the drug criminal network. Madam Speaker, as an island state, Mauritius faces significant challenges in preventing the maritime trafficking of illicit drugs. To reinforce coastal surveillance and improve the detection of illegal maritime activities, a new coastal surveillance radar system financed by the government of Japan is being installed and is expected to be operational by December of this year. At the international level, ADSU collaborates with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the US Drug Enforcement Administration, the UK National Crime Agency, Interpol, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and other agencies for intelligence sharing, capacity building, and cross-border investigations to combat transnational drug trafficking networks. Mauritius, Madam Speaker, has also partnered with India, the United Kingdom, France, and the United States to enhance our capacity for maritime surveillance and security. I'm informed, Madam Speaker, by the Director General of the Mauritius Revenue Authority that the MRA is undertaking the following additional measures to stop the smuggling of illicit drugs at the port and at the airport. First of all, they're purchasing 1 additional fast interceptor boat. The House may recall, Madam Speaker, that in September 2024, patrol interceptor boats of the MRA, I think 7 of them, I can't remember the exact figure, they were deliberately rammed into during the MSM regime, just to protect drug traffickers delivering drugs at the sea. That is the legacy of the MSM. 7 interceptors were just rammed into, and the person who did that was allowed to continue to work as if nothing. He was not taken to task because he had got, probably he was told to do that. Secondly, posting of MRE officers on high-risk vessels to check all persons entering and leaving the vessels. Thirdly, procurement of a mobile van scanner, which can be deployed all around the island. Fourth, increased use of technological tools to enhance the detection of drugs. And then finally, the installation of a 1 low-bed palletized cargo X-ray scanner in the port, which will be there by the end of this year. Madam Speaker, in April, the National Drug Control Commission launched the National Drug Control Master Plan 2026-2030, wherein it stated that government institutions, civil society organizations, and the community at large will be mobilized in a cohesive and holistic set of actions to combat this scourge. Activities under rehabilitation and prevention have already been initiated in collaboration with the Ministry of Ministry of Education and Human Resources to develop key school-based modules and policy measures on substance prevention. Second, the Ministry of Labour and Industrial Relations and Business Mauritius are coordinating for targeting workplace prevention. Third, the Mauritius Prison Service to enhance the counseling skills of prison officers. Madam Speaker, the government remains fully committed to adopting a comprehensive approach in the fight against drugs, combining robust law enforcement and border security measures with prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and social reintegration initiatives.
Yes, you're all right. Honorable Jamal.
Question B 1023, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Financial Crimes Commission that on the 14th of February 2025, police officers effected a search at the at the house of Mr. Chandadeo Uma, situated at Copan Lane, Rouge, and secured a suitcase containing the following: 5.5 million rupees, comprising 3.3 million rupees in Mauritian rupees and 2.2 million in foreign currencies. That is, the total is roughly 5.5 million. Secondly, 7 lady wrist watches and 3 documents in the name of the former Prime Minister, Mr. Pravin Jagannath, and his wife. During the inquiry, 2 other suitcases and 1 bag, which contained a total sum of approximately 109 million rupees in local and foreign currency, were secured from the house and the office of one Mr. Josian Laval Dilawan. Madam Speaker, during both searches, police secured a total sum of around 114 million rupees, 7 lady wristwatches, and documents, as I said, in the names of the former Prime Minister and his wife. On the 15th of February of 2025, Mr. Chandradeo Uma, Mr. Josian Laval Dilawan, and Mrs. Devyani Nakchedi Ramcharan and Mr. Pravin Kumar Jagannath were arrested for money laundering offences in breach of the Financial Crimes Commission Act. Mr. Chandradeo Uma and Mr. Josian Laval Dilawan appeared before the court on the 16th of February 2025 and were remanded to police cell. On the 17th of February 2025, they appeared before the District Court of Pamplemousse, where a provisional charge was lodged against them. They were released on bail on the 20th of February 2025 after having furnished 2 sureties of 300,000 rupees each by way of bank check and entered into recognitions of debt amounting to 5 million rupees each. Mrs. Devyani Nakchedi Ramcharan appeared before the court on the 16th of February 2025 as were remanded to police cell. On the 17th of February 2025, she appeared before the District Court of Pamplemousse, where a provisional charge was lodged against her. On the 18th of February 2025, she was released on bail after having furnished 2 sureties of 200,000 rupees by way of bank check and entered into recognitions of debt amounting to 5 million rupees. Madam Speaker, Mr. Pravin Kumar Jagannath was also arrested on the 15th of February 2025, and he appeared before the court on the 16th of February 2025, but was released on bail on the same day. On the 17th of February 2025, he appeared before the District Court of Pamplemousse, where a provisional charge was lodged against him. He furnished 2 sureties of 750,000 rupees by way of bank check and entered into recognitions of debt amounting to 5 million rupees. I'm informed, Madam Speaker, by the Financial Crimes Commission that due to the sensitivity of the case, further information on the ongoing investigation cannot be communicated.
Yes, one question.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House whether the FCC is enough equipped, has a required technical expertise and manpower to carry such cases, as there is a long list of cases pending at the level of the FCC?
That is actually the case, and I think I must accept what the Honourable Member is saying, that we need experts to deal with all those things. They're not trained enough for that. That is why we have people from former Scotland Yard officers who are actually helping them, assisting them in the inquiry.
Okay, next question, Honorable Kazan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B1024, please.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Director of Civil Aviation that before an airline can operate international services to another country, government must first negotiate an agreement which is known as a bilateral air services agreement with the government of the country of its desired destination. Bilateral air services agreements set out the conditions under which the international air services operate, including traffic rights capacity, the designation of airlines by both contracting parties, tariffs and other provisions relating to competition policy, safety and security. To date, Madam Speaker, Mauritius has concluded bilateral air services agreements for scheduled air services with 60 countries, out of which 35 agreements have been signed. Furthermore, Mauritius has signed a memorandum of understanding on air services with Dubai and 3 code-share agreements with Canada, Chile, and Japan. In accordance with the provisions of the bilateral air services agreements concluded by Mauritius, foreign designated airlines are required to submit the applications for the operation of scheduled commercial flights for 2 seasons, namely the northern summer season, which start from end of March to end of October, and the northern winter season, which start from the beginning of November to the end of March of the following year. Madam Speaker, I'm tabling the list of applications submitted by foreign airlines during the period ranging from March 2024 to October 2026. The House may wish to note that during the said period, applications have been received from 6 new foreign airlines to operate commercial flights to Mauritius, namely World to Fly from Spain, ITA Airways from Italy, Indigo from India, Ethiopian Airlines from Ethiopia, Airlink from South Africa, and Cobra Aviation from South Africa. I wish to inform the House that government is pursuing a policy of gradual liberalization of air access through bilateral agreements. This approach aims to enhance air connectivity while ensuring fair and equal opportunities for the continued development and growth of our national carrier, that is Air Mauritius Limited. Madam Speaker, air connectivity is extremely important for the development of our country. Any decision for opening up our airspace to any airline would be taken after a thorough assessment has been made as to the benefits that may accrue to Mauritius from such an agreement.
Thank you. Yes?
I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether the assessment will include also a market competition assessment.
Yes, he will assess everything, including the market.
Okay, last question. Chief Whip.
Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. B 1025.
Madam Speaker, in regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that on the 15th of March 2023, a request was received from the then Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development for the provision of surveillance cameras in the underpasses which fall under the purview of the Road Development Authority, including Triano Underpass, which is included in that. Since the images captured in the cameras would require constant surveillance, a request was also made for the cameras to be integrated to the Safe City network and for monitoring by police. I'm further informed that the intelligent video surveillance system cameras under the Safe City project have already been installed over strategic locations island-wise, and the project has been completed in this respect, and given that the current Safe City cameras are not designed to operate in underpasses and footbridges, Mauritius Telecom, which is the service provider for the Safe City surveillance network, is in the process of working on the new technical specifications. Since the existing Safe City network is a closed system, any extension thereof to cover the underpasses and footbridges would have to be undertaken at the new project with technical specifications for the surveillance cameras. Meetings have accordingly been held between the Police Department, the Road Development Authority, the Central Electricity Board, and Mauritius Telecom to work out the technical specification and cost estimate for its implication. Madam Speaker, in regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that there are 7 underpasses across Mauritius. The 2 underpasses at Koda are covered by private CCTV cameras. Police undertake regular patrols in the vicinity of the remaining underpasses, which are covered by nearby Safe City surveillance cameras where available.
Yes, one question and that will be it.
Just one. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his answer. In view of the recent security concerns and incidents, il y a eu une tentative de viol sur une femme de 21 ans dans le tunnel de Trianon. Will the Honourable Prime Minister indicate whether security measures will be implemented, will be considered as a matter of urgency? Thank you.
It's certainly the case, Madam Speaker. That is why we are working on the technical aspect of the project, because we want to put safety cameras there, but also increase patrols in those areas, especially the case what you just mentioned.
Okay, thank you very much. The table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn. B126, 1034, 1030, 1038, 1036, 1037, 1041, 1028, 1033, 1035. Thank you. Now we go to questions to ministers. Yes, Honourable Member for Bobassa.
B 1044.
Madame le Speaker, the Electoral Manifesto de l'Alliance du Changement of 2024 indeed contains a proposition to set up a free insurance package, including a medical insurance cover for national athletes. And even today, I can state in the strongest possible terms that the safety of our athletes remain one of our priorities. Thus, any scheme, project or program that can benefit our national athletes, including a medical insurance cover, as our consideration. I would like to inform the House that this matter has already been discussed, and the high-level sport unit of my ministry has been tasked with the responsibility of looking into the setting up of a medical scheme for national athletes, the improvement of the existing athlete welfare scheme, and other innovative measures that can improve the protection of the sporting community. The House may wish to be informed that, in parallel, Section 6(1)(d) of the Sport Act 2016 requires national sport federations to make appropriate arrangements for accident insurance covered for their licenses and officials during competition, as well as for athletes undergoing training with their national squad. Madam Speaker, with a view to supporting national sport federation and sport organization in fulfilling this important obligation, my ministry provides financial assistance to them to meet the cost of insurance coverage. The responsibility is on the federation regarding the quantum for the group personal accident insurance cover. In addition, my ministry has put in place a group personal accident insurance policy for participants in sporting events organized under its aegis for the period 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026. Provision has been made by my ministry to provide accident insurance coverage up to 2,000 participants in the event of accident, injury, or death arising from activities against by my ministry. Madam Speaker, my ministry will continue to work closely with National Sport Federation and other stakeholders to ensure that the existing support mechanisms are effectively implemented for the benefit of our athletes.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Vu que là nous parlons aussi de l'assurance médicale et vu que le ministère a confié cette tâche au Trust Fund for Excellence in Sport et que ce n'est que récemment, si je comprends bien la réponse du ministre, que son ministère a commencé à travailler sur ce projet. Et ne considère-t-il pas, notre ministre, ne considère-t-il pas que ce retard, bientôt 2 années que l'Alliance du Changement est au pouvoir, que ce retard est préoccupant et qu'il est désormais impératif de demander au Trust Fund for Excellence in Sport de mettre les bouchées doubles afin de respecter un engagement pris envers les sportifs mauriciens en 2024?
We are not talking about the excellence in sport. This is a different thing altogether. We are talking about the national athletes medical scheme and the athletes welfare scheme that is existing already. So what you are talking, what you are asking, this is different from what the ministry is doing. The level from Côte d'Or is a different thing. The trust fund is different thing. This one is different from the ministry.
Yes,
Madame la Présidente, que l'honorable ministre n'a peut-être pas bien saisi ce que je viens de dire. Si j'ai bien compris sa réponse, je lui repose la question. À qui la tâche a été confiée? Il a dit lui-même que cette tâche
aux fédérations, si j'ai bien compris. Moi, j'ai compris les fédérations. Ok.
Si c'est son ministère en particulier, ou bien un organisme tombant sur son ministère qui a eu la tâche d'aller de l'avant et de faire aboutir ce projet. Est-ce qu'il peut confirmer?
I rightly pointed out, Madam Speaker, that the ministry who is undertaking the responsibility to look into the scheme. We have a scheme that is updating. Now we have, at the level of our ministry, that is working on it.
Okay.
Une dernière question, Madame la Présidente, avec votre
J'ai
permission.
beaucoup de questions, malheureusement, là-dessus.
Peut-on savoir si le ministère a consulté les différentes fédérations sportives sur les critères d'éligibilité et la nature des prestations offertes?
And we are looking into the matter.
Okay. Dr. Omir, yes, and then Mr.
Thank you,
Apollo.
Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister, in the light of the recent World Cup where there have been senior athletes who have sudden death immediately after their participation in the World Cup, would we not consider for our high-level athletes to have thorough cardiac assessment at regular intervals before embarking on such high-level competition? Thank you.
Okay, Minister. Simple question.
This is a very good question. I'm going to take this into consideration.
Okay, Mr. Apollo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In this context, can the Honourable Minister inform us to whether Mr. L, injured cyclist, has benefited from the financial assistance under the Athlete Welfare Scheme?
Mr. L.
Mr. L, the injured cyclist.
Cyclist.
ML.
Cyclist, ML.
Cyclist, yeah. Madam Speaker, in my reply to Parliament question B978 and B980 last week, I informed that the case of Mr. L was being considered for any assistance deemed appropriate under the Athlete Welfare Scheme. I'm pleased to inform the House that high-level sport unit, which managed this scheme, with the approval of the Cabinet, has approved last week itself the payment of 250,000 rupees in favor of Mr. L.
Yes, Ms. Colette.
Thank you,
That
Madam
will be
Speaker.
the last supplementary. Yes.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House how many athletes have benefited from this scheme for the financial year 2025-2026, please?
Do you have these figures?
I would be pleased to answer, but it's a long list. I can table
Yeah,
if
please
you...
table. Please table. Next question, Ms. Sabapati.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question B, 1045.
Mr. Housie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm informed that out of the 163 NHDC housing estates, 34 are governed by a règlement de copropriété, and in line with the provisions of the Code Civil Mauricien, the owners of these apartments have to set up a syndicat des copropriétaires whose duties are to manage the common space of those housing estates. The syndicat des copropriétaires, through its General Assembly, appoint a syndic who is responsible to manage the affairs of the syndicat des copropriétaires. That is the good management of housing estate. In this respect, each copropriétaire is called upon to make a monthly contribution as determined by the General Assembly of the syndicat des copropriétaires to finance the expenses of the syndicat. Over the years, it was noted that many syndicats des copropriétaires were not functional due to low rate of contribution by the copropriétaire. To be more precise, there are certain copropriétaires who do contribute, whereas the great majority do not. With a view to addressing the issue, government in 2012 decided to contribute 200 rupees per housing unit per month to to the respective syndic. As matters stand, Madam Speaker, I am informed by the NHDC that contribution to the syndicat des copropriétaires comes mainly from government. I am also informed that around 40% of the amount contributed goes towards, and that is the problem, administrative costs of the syndicat, thus leaving barely adequate fund for the proper maintenance of common areas. In this context, I have requested the NHDC to come up with proposals to operate themselves as syndic on housing estates, where the syndicat is not fully functional or not functional at all. I underline those two elements. Because if it's working properly, there is no need for us to intervene. It is understood that this proposal can only happen if the decision is taken by the copropriétaire at their General Assembly. Since there is already a housing estate management and community development unit and a maintenance unit at the NHDC, resorting to the latter company will result in reducing the amount being absorbed as administrative cost of existing syndics, thus providing for additional funds towards proper maintenance. In regards to Part A, the key measures to be implemented by the NHDC will be as follows. Assist the syndicat des copropriétaires in convening their respective General Assembly to approve the appointment of the NHDC as syndic if they so desire. 2. Seek the consent of the respective syndicat des copropriétaires for the monthly subsidy of 200 rupees per housing unit by government to be disbursed to the NHDC. Because it's the NHDC that will do the work, the NHDC, with their consent, will hold on to that in order to do the work. Reinforce its housing estate management and community development unit, as well as its maintenance unit. Undertake inter alia the cleaning of common spaces, maintenance of children's playground, and water pumps, tanks, minor rehabilitation and dislodging works, and most importantly, payment of utility bills of common services. Because as it stands, I'll add that part, it has been brought to my attention, and that's so very often, that common utility bills for the common areas in syndic residences are very often not paid. There are certain, one of them, not far from where I stand, even has a bill of approximately 380,000 rupees unpaid. And it has also been reported to the Central Electricity Board that there has been unlawful connection of electricity in order for them to continue getting electricity in common areas. So all this, Madam Speaker, has been going down the drain because the previous government, the previous minister responsible, the previous administration and HDC, it just let things happen and did not even bother to come and find solutions. And solutions are not always easy. They demand courage. In regards to Part B and C, I understand that officers of the NHDC are already working on the implementation schedule to carry out sensitization and information campaigns on NHDC estates where the syndicat des propriétaires are not functional. As it stands, Madam Speaker, let me conclude on that, a lot of those non-functional or dysfunctional syndics are represented by certain people, as I've explained. 40% minimum, sometimes more, of what government gives is absorbed by their administrative costs. They take on that money. And very often you find out that they were political agents of the former government, surreptitiously placed there. So let me make it very clear. I know that they will find change complicated. It's understandable. All change is very difficult for certain people who have vested interest in there. So they will be trying a lot of things in order to stop this regime, in order to bring solutions, in order to make sure that NHDC residences are clean, well-maintained, and there's a proper living environment. I will not deter. My officers will not run away. We will forge ahead with the help of every single member of parliament, even on the member of parliament on the other side. Thank you very much.
Yes, one.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister give any indication on how financial matters will be handled by the syndic and whether residents of NHDC complexes will be made to contribute any sum? If so, the amount, please. Thank you.
It's a very good question. And the exercise that we've carried out already at the level of the ministry, together with officers and management of the NHDC, also with the new housing estates of the NSLD, there will be 14. In actual fact, I have the figures, and I will. There are NHDC housing estates, there are 34. Number of housing units, 7,635. Number of Sanjik, 79. Number of active Sanjik, out of the 79, only 32. Amount disbursed for Sanjik grant 2025-2026, 13,587,687 out of the almost 19 million. A recent assessment of Sanjik's expenditure revealed that, as I've said, only 40% goes to administrative costs. So, as it stands for the NSLD, it's 14, number of housing units 2,730, as at now, and it will keep on increasing. So what we're going to do is, yes, one size doesn't fit all, Madam Speaker. There are certain residences that require, there are less common areas, less areas in order to upkeep, and do not require such contribution. And where it does not require such contribution, whatever government gives, ever since it started in 2012, will continue. And if they decide to resort to our services of the NHDC, it will be managed. If there is a need pour faire des appels de fonds for other work, as in normally it is done, it will be done. But there are certain people who don't pay a penny. And there was a question. What happens if those who are now owners of those apartments, who can sell it and make a profit, who can benefit from subsidized government property, but they do not pay a penny with regards to upkeep? What do we do? There are people who have suggested that we consider other means and measures in order to take the money from an electricity bill, for instance, or to be able to have certain people who refuse to pay consistently, in spite of being able to pay, just out of pure negligence. They don't want to pay, being antisocial. Do we have the Sanjik take them to court, as it normally should be, according to the civil code? There needs to be discipline, because the majority want a good living environment. And it is not because a small number of people mess things up that we're going to keep quiet.
Okay, maybe not more long answers, Minister. In case you may be able to make a statement, it's so important. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister, what services will the new Sanjik scheme propose?
What? New services?
New services.
Yes.
So with regards to the new services, Madam Speaker, I have explained earlier on. I have the details. So we have the cleaning of common areas.
Yes.
We have the green spaces, children's playground. They need. Some of them have never been opened, and I have to run. It's true, it is. We are having certain problems, and I have to be very candid. I apologize. I need to say that the Ministry of Finance will have to be able to consult quicker with local government, and local government has to be able to take on board their responsibilities for cleaning of playground areas, etc. Because they need to be given finance and they need to take that responsibility. Now, there is something else, is repair of works and maintenance of amenities, because a lot of them are broken down within the housing estates, cleaning of water tanks, maintenance of pumps, paying electricity bills, cleaning of drains, minor waterproofing and structural repairs of housing blocks, removal of bulk waste, dislodging works. So those are the works that normally a Sanjik does, and we will be providing it. But most importantly, we will have a number and a dedicated person responsible for each residence, where they will be able to be reached at all times, and they will be able to dispatch people in order to do the work.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Now, the next question has been withdrawn. Question of Mr. Lubin, 1046. Dr. Prayag, I don't know what's happened, so I shall call on Ms. Angtil for the moment. For the next question, we'll keep Dr. Prayag.
He's not coming today.
He's not coming, okay.
He's not coming.
So that question is also out.
Il a présenté ses excuses. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. B1048. Merci.
Madam Speaker, my ministry fully supports the development of safe, modern and inclusive sporting facilities for young people, including skateboarding, which is now recognized as an Olympic discipline and a fast-growing sport among our youth. Following a formal request received from Wolf Park, Mauritius on 13 March 2025, the proposal for a skate park was referred to the Municipal Council of Catabon for examination and follow-up action. Since then, the Council has engaged in consultation with representatives of the association and has actively facilitated the skateboarding activities within its premises, including the Go State Skateboarding Day event held on 21st June 2026, which is an internationally recognized day for the promotion of skateboarding worldwide. I am pleased to inform the House that the proposed skate park project has been included among the priority projects submitted.
Murmur. I can't hear the Minister. Carry on, Minister.
Yeah. I am pleased to inform the House that the proposed skate park project has been included among the priority projects submitted for financing under the Government of India grant. The project is designed to cover an area of approximately 500 square meters and will cater for both skateboarding and roller skating, whereby maximizing the use of the facility by a wider range of users. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, the Municipal Council has identified two potential locations, namely the Sir Circumambulel Sport Complex at Eben and the parking area at Tulip Avenue, among others. The final site will be selected after the necessary technical and feasibility assessment, with particular attention to accessibility, safety, environmental suitability, and the requirements of future users, including children and young adults. The primary cost of the project is estimated at approximately 4.5 million rupees. The funding request is presently awaiting the required approval from the Prime Minister's Office under the Government of India grant framework. Once approval is obtained, the Municipal Council will proceed without delay with the preparation of the project document, the procurement exercise, and the implementation construction works strictly in line with the applicable procedures and regulations. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part B of the question, consultations with Wolf Park, Mauritius have already started and will continue throughout the design and implementation stage. Other relevant stakeholders, users, and technical experts will also be consulted to ensure that the facility complies with recognized safety standards and responds effectively to the needs of the expectation of the local skateboarding communities.
Okay, one question for the moment.
Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Au nom des jeunes de Belle-Rose, Quatre-Bornes, le docteur Boulel, le Deputy Speaker, l'honorable Veda Balamoudi et moi-même, nous remercions l'honorable ministre pour sa réponse. Le ministre peut-il préciser à la Chambre si Maurice dispose des compétences techniques requises pour la conception de ce projet ou si le recours à une expertise étrangère, notamment réunionnaise, est envisagé? Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Short and sweet, Minister.
Yeah. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the honourable members that the Council does not have in-house specialists in skate park facilities, but the Municipal Council will therefore work in close collaboration with a specialist in close collaboration with the experienced local skateboarding association. We do have an association. We will work.
And they're experts.
They are experts.
Okay.
So we will work in collaboration with them.
Yes.
Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Le skateboard étant une discipline olympique, le ministre peut-il indiquer si son ministère envisage une collaboration avec le ministère des Sports afin d'offrir aux jeunes des infrastructures adaptées leur permettant de s'entraîner et de développer leur potentiel? Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Very easy.
Yeah. Madam Speaker, my ministry is already working in close collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sport. I am sure that Honorable Devanangan will give a helping hand for the promotion of this skateboarding.
Very good. Thank you very much. I will have a last question from Mr. Francois.
Thank you. B/1049.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that over the past 5 years, 4 applications for environmental impact assessment license for private undertakings have been received at the level of the Ministry. Out of these 4 applications, 3 environmental impact assessment licenses have been issued. One application, namely the proposed Balao Bay Small Hotel Development at Ansali, Rodrigue, by Société Civile Balao Bay, has been withdrawn as a request of the proponent on the 5th of October 2023. It is to be noted that no application for environmental impact assessment license for public undertakings have been received at the level of my ministry over the past 5 years. I'm tabling a list of applications for environmental impact assessment license applications for Rodrigues from 2021 to date, which have been processed by my ministry. Madam Speaker, furthermore, with regard to preliminary environmental report and strategic environmental assessment report, no application have been received at the level of the ministry for public or private undertakings in Rodrigues over the past 5 years. I have also been informed by the Chief Commissioner's Office, Commission for Environment and Community Development, that one project, namely the construction of a jetty at Belascor, is being implemented without an EIA license, and a stop order has been issued on the 8th July 2026.
Thank you. Yes?
Thank you, Honourable Minister. With regards to the stop order, may I know who issued the stop order? Is it your ministry or it's the local authority there at
It's the Chief Commissioner's Office and the Environment Department of Rodrigues.
Okay. Thank you. I think we can break now. We will break for 1 hour only today, exceptionally. Thank you.